Hi, everyone. Today, officially our first class period. What I like to do is kind of introduce you to the course by talking about some objectives of the class and then getting into the different assignments, different readings, and our schedule and different class policies. So basically, to ease into the semester during our first class period, I just like to take it slow and give you an idea of what we'll be doing and how we'll be doing it. So what I'll do to start is pull up our syllabus for the semester. And at the top of the syllabus, we look at three different course objectives that we have. And so overall, when looking at these objectives, you'll see that we'll be looking at both contemporary, meaning kind of newer, more current sociological theories, but also looking at past theories as well. And so that's how we approach the class, kind of looking at the past, but working our way up to more present ideas. And this first objective ties into the third one, because in objective 3, we talk about kind of recognizing the connections between the past and the present. So although at the beginning of the semester, we're going to go through the classical theorist, just because we leave them in the middle and at the end of the semester doesn't mean we're going to stop discussing them because the ideas of the early theories will come in later in more contemporary theories as well. So that's what I mean in terms of analyzing the continuity, the confrontation of theories. In our book, which I have right here, our book does a good job of highlighting those connections. So the second objective is trying to recognize how we can use these theories to see and understand our social world in a new way. So we'll talk about this more during our next class, but each theory provides us a way to see and think about the social world in a new way, a more sociological, deeper insight in terms of how we see and how we think of things that go on around us on a daily basis. So that's what we'll be doing throughout the semester in terms of our objectives of the course. Below the objectives, you'll see my personal information, my email address, office hours. And for office hours, I'll basically be by my computer, Monday, Wednesday, 10:30 to noon, Tuesday, Thursday, 1:30 to 2:30. And all you need to do is to shoot me an email and say, hey, I'd like to ask you a couple questions or whatever. And, if you prefer, we can communicate through email, or what's probably easier would be, set up a Zoom meeting. So I would send you a link and say, hey, here's the link and we'll get together and discuss whatever you want to discuss. So that's office hours. And then below office hours, you'll see our texts. So we have 3 texts we'll be going throughout the semester. You have to purchase only one. So the only book you have to purchase is the one I just showed you, the Gardner and Hancock Theory Reader. So basically, the majority of our readings throughout the semester will come from this text here. And then the 2 books that we're going to be reading throughout the semester, the first, The Theory of the Leisure Class, and second, Kitchens, those I'll provide to you. So I'll distribute those 2 books to you on our D2L site. So you don't have to buy those. If you buy them, that's fine. But what I'll be doing is uploading those to the D2L site. So buy the first book, the other 2 books, I'll get to you. So now I get into assignments. And before I get into how you turn them in and all that. Now basically we'll get into the types of assignments. So I allocate points to you. You earn points through 4 main ways. The first way is through reaction papers. And so these reaction papers, I provide you guidelines for each of the 4 papers. And you'll basically respond to various questions. So each one usually has around 5 questions. And then you'll you write on those 5 questions in the reaction papers. So I'll provide you, in our D2L site, those reaction paper guidelines for each of the 4. And for the 4 papers, you'll see they're outlined in terms of when they're due and what they'll be on in the course schedule. So the first reaction paper, it's on Marx and Engels, the Communist Manifesto, and that paper is due on the 7th of September. And again, I'll provide you the guidelines for that, before we get there. And again, the second reaction paper would be Durkheim, Normality and Deviance, and that will be the 16th of September. So if you just go through the schedule, I try my best to kind of note, when all the papers are due, and the same thing with our in-class assignments. So I'll jump down here to our 5 in-class assignments, all of which, again, are noted in terms of when they're due and our course schedule. So the first in-class assignments will be on Arnowitz and DeFazio, and that will be due the 14th. And just like the guidelines for the reading reaction papers, I provide you guidelines for the in-class assignments as well. And the in-class assignments, I'll jump down here to some brief descriptions of the different types of assignments. The in-class assignments, they're 20 points each, and they're based on participation. So, usually what I have you do, if we were face-to-face, get in small groups and you'd work together to answer questions, to, do what I ask you to do. And I just give you the points based upon, your participation. So you're there, you're attending, you're participating, and you earn the points. So here, since we're doing things virtually, we're going to do the same idea of the in-class assignments. And again, they'll be based on participation, just like they would be if you're doing it in groups. Instead of doing it in groups, we're just going to do it individually now. In addition to the reaction papers, the in-class assignments, we have our 2 book reports, which cover those 2 books I just mentioned, Kitchens and the Theory of the Leisure Class. And again, I'll provide you the guidelines for those book reports and when we get to those texts. And then finally, we have our visual theory project. So for final exam, basically what I have you do is come up with a project, and that will be due during our final exam period, which happens to be Friday, the 11th of December. And we'll talk more about the final project. And, again, I provide you guidelines for everything. So that's how I will, provide you points. That's how you earn your points. And the grading scale is pretty standard, plus minus. I will be providing extra credit opportunities throughout the semester, and I'll kind of let you know when those opportunities are out there and what they are. But otherwise, the schedule, I try my best to make it pretty straightforward. The way to read this properly is to, have read the assigned readings for that day. So, you want to read the introduction to social theory and Gardner by Wednesday, 8/26, so 26th of August. And then you're going to read The Prince by Machiavelli, by our Monday class, Monday the 31st. And then, so again, just kind of read those readings, keep up with the readings during those class periods. And again, in the schedule, I let you know when the papers are due, when we're doing in-class assignments, and, overall, the different sections of the class. So, we have classical theory, then we have a new section of the class, the middle years. Again, we're going historically, kind of starting in the past, working our way up to more present theories. So when we get to the end of the semester, we get to, contemporary thoughts, specifically this semester, where we're looking at contemporary American thoughts. So that's how, to look at the schedule. Again, you can read about these reaction papers, the in-class assignments, the book reports, the visualizing theory project. And when you email me, please include your first and last names, your class, so I can just kind of be more efficient in terms of responding to emails. You'd be surprised how often I get an email saying, sorry, I missed class. Is there anything I got to do? And then I have to email back and say, what class are you in? So it's just, if you just kind of, let me know up front what's going on. It's just much easier for me to get back to you quickly as possible. Late assignments I don't accept, but you will have opportunities to work ahead and turn things in early if you want. So, when I say I don't accept late assignments, I hold that line pretty hard just to be fair for all students. But if there's a situation where somebody's ill or something like that, I'm reasonable just as long as it's a legitimate reason why you couldn't turn in an assignment. So, just make sure you turn everything on time. But something, legitimate happens, just kind of let me know and we can work around things. Otherwise, again, you'll be able to work ahead if you want to. I'll be uploading lectures, I'll be uploading assignment guidelines, usually around a week in advance. And it'll be a little, at first, it'll be a little bit smaller of a window, so I'll try to get a week's stuff up at a time so you can work ahead and, get a start on things. But the further we get into the semester, the more of a window that we'll have. It's just very labor intensive right now for me to, learn that we're going online. So I had to kind of revise all my syllabi and then just do all this kind of heavy front-ended stuff. But once I get everything like the D2L site together, I can just focus on, the lectures and the grading papers and stuff. So anyways, you'll have the opportunity to work ahead. So what I'll try to do as soon as I finish any content of the lectures, the assignment directions, I'll upload the content so you can work ahead if you want. So otherwise, if you need any type of learning accommodation, just let me know, and make sure to follow the academic honesty policy. And usually I don't have a problem with that, but actually theory is one class where sometimes, because it's more difficult readings, can be abstract, can be hard to understand, students will turn to, Google or turn to whatever to, help them out. And sometimes, the help that you are seeking becomes actually work that you do, and you sometimes intentionally, other times not, commit plagiarism or whatever. So again, sometimes the content of the course is difficult, but the way I try to approach it is I try to do my best job and letting the material make sense to you. And so as long as you're putting in the work, you should be, good to go. With that said, it's always the beginning of the semester when we get into some of the classical theories. A lot of students will say, I don't get it. This is kind of tough. And sometimes you assume that it's only you, like, I don't get it, but I bet everybody else in the class understands what's going on. And that's not the case, because a lot of these classical pieces were written, mid 1800s. They've been translated from, German to English, French to English, and sometimes that makes it a little bit more difficult to read because the translation is not perfect necessarily. So anyways, as long as you stick with the class, you should be in good shape. But if you ever need any assistance, any help, and that's where, I will do my best in terms of lectures and all that, but also I want you to communicate with me in terms of what else I can do to help. Because again, it's a required class, you need to take this for the major, and it can be tough, but I want you to enjoy it as well. Typically, students, I think, will leave enjoying the class for the most part. It may not be their favorite class they've ever taught or ever had in Millersville, but we all kind of get by together because we're all on the same team, kind of all in the same boat and getting through the semester. So, it is probably my favorite class to teach, in terms of classes I teach on a regular basis. Theory is really interesting to me, so it's a privilege to be able to teach it, and I always try to teach it to my best ability. So that's what's going on in terms of the syllabus. Now, quickly, I'll turn our attention to our D2L site. So if you go to our D2L site, so, just to walk with you through this, you can go to our homepage, and then to the login section. And then here you'll find the D2L icon. And then you'll find our class. And you'll come to our home page. And at our home page, the front page kind of has a outline of our different kind of ongoings in our content section. And then also has a calendar. And the calendar basically is telling you when papers are due. So the different assignments and the due dates for those assignments. So it's a kind of a quick and easy way to, look what's coming up. But anyways, in terms of accessing course content, readings I provide you, for example, those 2 books, the assignment guidelines for the reaction papers, for the in-class assignments, you're going to access all those through the resource content section. And so again, this is still a work in progress right now. And by the time, we kind of get the ball rolling on Monday, everything will be kind of good to go. So, you have the class log. Hopefully you watched the video that I did in terms of, the class course introductions video. So I'll keep an ongoing updated log of our class activities there. There's that class introduction video, the syllabus you'll get here. And I've uploaded the theory readings from the Gardner book, the readings that start on the 26th. So our second course through the 9th or through the 2nd of September. So just in case you haven't had a chance to get the book yet, I've uploaded the first few readings so you don't fall behind. But you need to get the book sooner than later because you're going to need it for all those assignments. And then I've already uploaded our 2 books, the leisure class and then the fine book as well. And then I'll have all our different lectures. So here is the lecture class for today, the 24th of August, our first class. And I'll have that. And I'll, after I'm finished with this video, I'll upload the video to D2L. So here again, you're going to find all the different assignments. You're going to find all the different lectures I'll be doing. And so here's where you go for the class content. Now, in terms of where you turn in the assignments, so you get a certain assignment, you finish it, you'll go to the assessment tab and then down to the assignment section. And here you'll see all the different assignments for the semester, when they're due. So as I say in the syllabus, the assignments are due by 10 p.m. on the due date. And you come to this section, the assignment section, our D2L site, and click on it and then kind of upload your assignment or drop it off, some people say. And then in this same section is where I'll access your papers, I'll grade them and provide you feedback. And typically D2L quickly notifies you when I do submit your grade and feedback. So all your grades for the semester, you'll be able to locate in this section. And with those grades I provide you, I'll be providing you feedback, specifically feedback about, what you maybe did to lose points or, what you did really well on. So for the most part, you just need to recognize the content section is where you're going to get the content in terms of the readings, the assignments, and then the assignment section is where you're going to be turning in your work, and then where you're going to be able to see the grades you received for that work. So the third part of our D2L site we'll be using is in the communication tab in the discussion section. And here as well, I'll be providing you different extra credit opportunities throughout the semester. So the first one's already there, the student profiles, as I talked about in the class introduction video. Here's an opportunity for you to tell your classmates, you to tell me a little bit about yourself. And then, we get to kind of know people a little bit better. And the more we do these, activities. So, sometimes activities will be based on class content, but sometimes activities will be based on kind of more socializing. And hopefully through that socializing, we kind of start to get to know everybody a little bit better if you don't happen to know somebody yet. I know a lot of you are taking me for the first time. And so, I'll be participating in these activities as well. And so get to know me a little bit better, and hopefully I'll get to know you a little bit better as well. So otherwise, I think I covered everything that I, need to cover for right now. And, so the next step is kind of the next class period, which will be kind of our first lecture on theory and how we approach theory. And then we'll kind of move on from there, get into Machiavelli and get into the classical theory. So as I, said before, always make sure to follow your syllabus so you know kind of what's going on in the class, and always make sure to get in touch with me if you have any questions, if I can help you out, clarify anything for you. So we'll leave that there. So, hopefully this introduces you to class a little bit better. And, one more thing I've already said, but I'll re-say it is, we'll take a little bit of time to adjust, how we do things. So, if things are a little bit fuzzy right now, where am I getting this? Where do I have to turn in this? And that's normal. Like any class, it takes a little bit of a adjustment period to kind of feel comfortable with the ongoings. So just give it time, and always keep in touch with me if you have any questions.